It was just Super Mario Bros. Any percent. 7 years ago, 4.4 million. Now we're back again doing a redo of 120-star world record history and a multi-series thing.
Super Mario 64. The name carries a heavy weight for so many.
This is the first one, 20 minutes long, and now on the new one. So we're gonna watch the new one, chat.
I'm into the lead.
No, I don't want to see the ending. The history of 120 stars early era is what we're watching, chat. So this is, again, I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a multi-part series of videos, right? He's starting off with the early era, and he's going extremely in depth. Hi, sorry, what's up, babe? How are you? Hi, Beeve. Because this is an hour and 12 minutes long of just the early era of 120 stars. So there's gonna be so much shit. There's gonna be stuff that I probably don't even know in great detail in this video. So I guess let's just get started, chat. I'm very excited. With that said, I don't think there's anything else to say other than good luck, have fun, and let's get into this amazing stuff. Do your react face. Wait. Okay, now we're ready.
4th, 2012. Streaming live on a young website called twitch.tv, a player is trying to beat perhaps the most famous world record in all of video gaming.
Siglemic.
The Super Mario 64 120 star world record. It's a competition of
loud,
how
eh? It's a bit loud, eh, bud?
quickly you can collect every star in the most popular 3D platformer of all time. It's part of a relatively new hobby called speedrunning. 120 star is a prestigious enough record that it's rarely broken at this point.
No, 2012 was Twitch. It became Twitch already. I know because when I got into speedrunning was exactly around when Twitch happened. I got in and because I didn't know what Justin TV was. I knew Twitch, and that was like the end of 2012, mid 2012. So it was already Twitch. It was already Twitch.
This day, one man is determined to
right.
His name is Siglemic.
Siglemjuk.
Siglemic has been going at this for a while. Even today, he's already been streaming for several hours. He makes dozens of attempts at the record, each one dying to mistakes or just being
today as in 2012. I was like, what?
Too slow.
Where is he streaming?
But eventually, he's able to get a fast start. Siglemic collects star after star, displaying incredible movement and other techniques. Thousands of livestream viewers watch in awe as he makes it past 30 stars, then 50, then 70. He's pulling far ahead. This is on pace for a new world record. The impressive gameplay continues. Excitement is building. He's doing things that most viewers can't.
Damn, I met Giano in 2016 Evo. And he came up to me and simply, Giano, quick segue here, I guess. Here. Poodle Skirt. I forgot about Poodle Skirt too. Son Giano was like one of Siglemic's close friends. What is that message? And he was one of like, I think the mods. I'm not sure if he was a mod, but he was like one of the big guys. And he met us and he came up to me and Simply in Evo 2016 and he was like, yo guys, oh my god, I'm Giano. And I was like, I couldn't believe it's like Giano?
Building.
I think Simply was like, who are you? Because Simply was notoriously bad at remembering people or knowing people. I always had to tell him he's this guy. Simply he's that guy.
Doing things that most viewers can't even fathom. And then, minutes away from a new world record,
Siglemic used to get 10,000 views and shit on World Record pace easily.
100 coin star. This one is super easy. All you have to do is stand still on a magic carpet and collect a few coins. Siglemic does that, and the 117th star appears. All he has to do now is jump up and collect it.
I remember this.
This is the worst way to lose a record. An hour and 41 minutes of beautiful gameplay, and it had all been for nothing. Siglemic could do some things in Mario 6.
So for those who don't know why that happens, what I assume happened here was your camera changes automatically when you get into when you pass that part of the castle.
And it had all.
And when that happens, you see how he jumped right after the camera changes? When your camera changes and you hold a certain angle, so he would have probably he probably held straight up there to jump to the star. But when the camera changes, there's a very small time frame where if you hold straight up, Mario like takes time to reconfigure his position. So even though you're holding straight up and you jump right away, you actually jump like while Mario's kind of like configuring himself, and you end up jumping at a different angle as opposed to straight up. So when he was holding up here and then jumped,
an hour and 41 minutes of beautiful gameplay, and it had all.
Mario jumped to the like up left instead of straight up because of that like camera weirdness, right? Especially in that part of Rainbow Ride Castle, it's very weird. So that's probably what happened.
All been.
And he didn't. I've died once like that in Carpetless when I forgot to go to Mario Cam. The camera changed and I just walked off because the camera's weird.
Siglemic could do some things in Mario 64 that nobody else could. Yet, right here, he could have handed the controller off to anyone, and they would have collected the stuff.
So that's why usually that's what we do. We hold neutral and we don't hold anything. Usually what you do there is when you spawn the star, you just hold neutral and tap A. You just jump. You just spam the A button to jump to the star right away. So you don't have to hold any angles. But because he was messing around, it's no.
After finishing the run,
it was bad.
Siglemic talked to his stream about what happened.
Like I couldn't even believe it. Like I paused and I was just like looking at it. I just like felt nothing. I don't even know like how long it would take me to get a run like this. Again, it'll probably take a while. I can't believe I threw that kind of run away.
In this moment, Siglemic felt tiny. His best ever chance at the record thrown in the garbage. Sometimes, attempts at greatness end in tragedy. It's a necessary evil. Because if there's never any tragedy, then greatness would feel insignificant.
Oh, what great words of wisdom, Summon Soul.
Dude, I'm a legend! Oh my god. Oh my god, dude! No way!
Dude. Sounds like a horror movie, man. Holy shiza. I can name all those people. That was me, Puncayshun, Sweetie, and Ouija, by the way. I know by the reactions immediately who they were and what record it was, what year it was, maybe even what month it was. Liam? Is that Liam?
Wait!
I don't hear Liam.
Oh my god.
That's Liam. Right. Oh, it's Liam. It's not Punkay. I was thinking it's old Liam. Sorry, it's old Punkay. It's not. It was actually Liam. You're right. Okay. Early era from 2004 to 2014. Wow. Okay, that's a long time. I didn't think he was going to start that early. So that's basically exactly when I started, 2014. So I don't know if I'm actually going to show up much in this video. Maybe I might get a few mentions, but this is the era basically up to when I started. I'm guessing this is going to be, a lot of this is going to be like Siglemic, lots of Punkay and Nero. Why are you laughing, Snow? Why are you guys laughing? The hell?
And now, a word from this video's sponsor, Factor. Factor lets you pick from a variety of meals and have them delivered to your door.
All right.
Just pop it.
No way. I can't believe it. I can't. Ah. No shot, dude. There's just no way. Oh my god.
Let's start with an overview of the speedrun. Super Mario 64 has a total of 120 stars for you to collect.
Why don't
You
I get
only need
faster
to
sponsorship?
collect 70 of them to beat the game, but a full
I think it's because I'm not North
100%
American.
completion involves
It's a North
collecting
American
all
sponsor.
120 stars. How do you collect them? Well, the game has 15 levels, and each level contains 7 stars.
Really? I
That
had no
accounts
idea.
for 105 stars, and the remaining 15 come from various locations, scattered throughout the castle, substages like Peach's Slide, and the Bowser levels. Most of the game's stars involve defeating bosses or completing objectives. Each level also has a star you earn from collecting 100 coins, known as the 100 coin star. Once you collect enough stars, you can fight Bowser to earn keys. These keys unlock new sections of the castle. There are 3 main areas. You start in the lobby with its 4 levels, then unlock the basement and its 5 levels, and later unlock upstairs and its 6 levels. Importantly, within each section of the castle, there's a lot of flexibility in the order you can play the levels. While 120 star is at the forefront of speedrunning today, it certainly didn't start that way. Let's go back to the very beginning. The first sign of 120 star speedrun activity comes from the year 2004 on the speedrunning hub Speed Demos Archive. Keep in mind, Super Mario 64
I always
was just
asked,
8
I always
years old
wondered
at this
why
point. Very
why do they call it speed demos? Why demos? And not speed games or speed runs? I wonder where speed demos came from and why they chose the word demos. Is it because they never assumed demonstrations? Yeah, but sure, but like, I know it's short for demonstrations, right? But like, why demonstration? I just find it's like, I don't know. I find it a weird word to use, but anyway.
Various people created forum threads asking what a 120 star speedrun would look like.
Demo files for Quake, interesting. And Quake was one of the first speedruns.
Somebody would be willing to try it.
I guess that makes sense.
2 speedrunners took up the task: Spider-Man 88 Mil and Jason.
Oh,
Their
Jason.
runs were
Very good name.
unrecorded, but they posted updates in forum threads, trading the record back and forth throughout 2004. Finally, in December, Spider-Man 88 Mil got a record he was happy with: 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 49 seconds. He recorded it on VHS, and across the next 21 years, that footage survived. Let's take a look at the earliest recorded 120 star speedrun.
Did it actually? Wow.
The first thing to notice is the movement. Spider-Man 88 Mil did a lot of long jumps, performed by pressing Z and then jumping. This is one of the fastest ways of moving through the game.
Even up to when I started, there was lots and lots of strats that had like long jumps. Long jumps were definitely the play, right? Because it's the easy thing to do. It's like the quick, like, oh, this is how you go fast. You fucking yeet. But then things started changing a lot. Optimizations.
Faster than just running. Then
Dive
there's
rolls
the
are actually
routing.
faster.
The
Have we
order
found
of
out?
collecting all 120 stars
Slightly.
is important. You don't want to waste time backtracking, for instance. There's a couple basic rules he followed. He always collected all 7 of a level's stars before heading to the next level, and he generally completed all levels in an area before moving on. These
Very
rules
end of the
helped
video
ensure
is
he
awesome.
made it through as
Oh.
fast as possible. Now, as for the gameplay itself, parts of it were pretty impressive for such an early run. For instance, to save time on the Lil Penguin Lost Star, he jumped over the edge and
Oh, I like
landed
that.
right where he needed to be, rather than sliding down the
Oh, I love
slopes.
that.
In Womp's Fortress, instead of using the cannon,
Womp's
he
Fortress?
cleverly used a side flip to reach the chute into the Wild Blue Star. Little strategies like these were used throughout the 3-hour run, saving him small amounts of time over a casual playthrough. But certain sections made it quite clear that this was an early speedrun. He died 4 times and played very slowly in other parts, not at all like a modern run. Perhaps the most infamous moment came in Shifting Sandland, when he just couldn't quite reach the star in the pyramid.
Uh-oh. Just press C. Do the thing. Yes.
It's silly to think of such moments being in
I just had a very interesting idea for a video. I'm gonna talk to Snelms and Zelda about it. But anyway.
Today, but in 2004, things were bound to happen across a 3-hour speedrun. Spider-Man.
This run was on my 6th birthday. Fuck. Sorry, don't say that. 2004. If Sweegee's 19, Sweegee was not born yet. Fuck me. Okay, well there we are. He was not born yet. Great.
88 Mil received lots of praise for his record. Most
Holy
had never
shit,
seen a run of
dude.
a game like this before, and although they could see its imperfections, they were impressed to see such a high level of gameplay mostly sustained across 3 hours. Interestingly, Jason realized after watching the run that he'd sort of already
Snells was in her emo phase.
He'd played on the PAL version of the game, which runs at 5/6
Her punk
the
rock
speed
phase.
of the NTSC version that Spider-Man 88 Mil played on. So, Jason's 316 would have been timed as a 244 on NTSC, but since it was both unrecorded and
that's
played
much
on
faster.
PAL, it didn't count, and Spider-Man 88 Mil had the official world record. After 2004, we enter a strange period of 120 Stars history. Much of this era has been lost to time, but here's what we do know. Throughout 2005 and 2006, a number of new 120 Star speedruns were submitted to Speed Demo's archive, and every single one was rejected by the site admins.
What?
Why? Well, speedrun verification on Speed Demo's archive
Okay,
worked
Green Dragon.
differently back then. They only wanted high-quality speedruns on their website, both in video quality and quality of gameplay. So even
And
if someone
quality of
submitted a run that
gameplay.
was fast
Damn,
enough for a new
elitist.
record, admins could reject it if they felt you could do better. And that happened repeatedly with 120.
I love his wording too. If they felt that you could do better. I wonder if that's and that's actually what the admins were saying. No, you need to do better or else screw you, dude.
Star. Multiple runs were submitted to SDA that beat Spider-Man 88 Mil, but since the site admins already had a 120 star run, and they weren't overly impressed by the new runs, they rejected them.
There's no way that's true. Is that true? They weren't impressed by that, so they rejected. That's crazy. I won't be so surprised if that's the case because speedrunning was extraordinarily elitist back then, especially.
Baffling concept today, but it was the norm back then.
Yeah.
It's unknown how many times this occurred, but we know it happened twice to a player known as Amoeba 2. In May 2005, he submitted a 254, and in February 2006, he submitted a 247. Both were rejected from SDA.
What?
There are also rumors that a player named Ikanaki got a time of 242, but without video proof. Fortunately, this period in history wouldn't last long, because then in 2006, a new player appeared on the forums, intrigued about the possibility of completing a 120 star run. His name was Dragorn.
Dragorn. The man
Dragorn had a
himself.
different approach. He didn't want to just beat the run on the site.
Wait, guys, we need to take a quick picture for Twitter, everybody, and Blue Sky. Everybody. Very good. Okay. Picture's been taken. La 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 la.
A 258.49. He wanted to demolish it, leaving no chance for his run to be rejected. His goal was to take more than 40 minutes off the record and get a sub 215. Dragorn himself wasn't sure if this was possible, but he got community members excited.
Hi,
Many of
asshole.
them tried to help out, even if their computers limited them. Members from all over the site, who played all different games, eagerly
Look, it's Andrew G.
awaited Dragorn's run. Even Spider-Man 88 Mil joined the thread, saying that he felt sub 230 was possible, but not sub 215. Over the next few months,
I don't know,
Dragorn
guys, what do you
posted his
think?
progress learning the speedrun. He borrowed many strategies from the existing 70-star record and looked at coin routes from Curtis Bright's Mario 64 website. Finally, after months of practice, Dragorn posted that he'd completed a run. 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 47 seconds. The community was amazed that he'd taken
Can I be
half
the
an hour
father
off
to
the
one of
record
your
like it was
children? Look at the emote after. That's so good. Very good.
nothing. But there was no video posted. It was hard to upload long videos in 2006, and Dragorn felt he could still lower the time a bit more. So, rather than mail in this VHS tape to
Back to
SDA,
work.
he'd wait for the best run he could get. Dragorn kept improving, and his updates in the forum thread continued. A week later, he posted a 2:18:07. People started trash talking the 258 run currently on the site, knowing that Dragorn had crushed it. A few weeks later,
And he
another
dies
update.
4 times.
He was now in the 2:16 range. Finally, in early September, Dragorn posted his newest time, 2:14:32, with 0 deaths.
0.
This accomplished his sub 215 goal, but he was still unsatisfied. He'd been playing since January, and was at the very top of his skills now. Could he do even better if he kept going? Well, Dragorn continued his attempts, and a few days later, he posted one final update in the forums, 2:10:40.
Oh my
a
god.
time that even he thought was impossible. Dragorn submitted the run to SDA, and everyone got excited. Nowadays, you can watch a run as soon as it happens, but back then you had to wait for it to be published, and there was a huge sense of anticipation. It was finally accepted and posted on the
Just
site
like
a couple
TV.
weeks later. At long last, all these members who'd been tracking his progress over the past 9 months were able to watch Dragorn's masterpiece. We see improvements right from the opening seconds of the run. Dragorn goes for and hits a trick called Lakitu Skip. When you walk on the bridge to enter the castle,
Was he the first to do Lakitu
stops you
Skip?
to explain how the camera works. But
Interesting.
if you only touch the very edge of the bridge, you never hit the trigger for the cutscene and are able to skip it.
Was he the
This
first?
only saves about 10 seconds, but the fact that Dragorn hits it is a sign of what's to come. In Bob-omb Battlefield, he gets a trick called bomb
long
flip,
jumps. Just
albeit
long jumps.
a different version than what's done in runs today. By taking the Bob-omb to the corner of the gate, then jumping as it explodes, you'll get pushed behind the
What?
gate and are free to collect
No
the
way,
star,
dude.
much faster than
Look at
having
that.
to use the chomp. In general, there was much less playing it safe, and more tricks
Not me not knowing that ever.
used to shave seconds off here and there. In Cool Mountain, he quickly dropped down to the wall kicks will work star instead of slowly floating down like the old record. In Dire Docks, instead of using the slow poles to collect red coins, he did a series of difficult jumps to reach the platforms. This was a true
Wow.
speedrun.
He was
There
the
were
first one to
strategies, there
do
were
Polus in DDD 100. Big balls.
tricks, there were things you would not see in a normal playthrough. And importantly, Dragorn completed the entire run without dying. This was all everyone was hoping for and more. Dragorn stepped away from Mario 64 for good after this. Before he left, he posted a comment talking about the future of 120-star speedruns. He felt that a 209 was right around the human limit. A sub 2 hour speedrun was completely out of the question. After Dragorn
Yeah. Well, guys, it's like back in 2016 and shit when I literally used to be in Skype calls with Siglemic playing RuneScape together, funny enough, an account that I still use today. Joking about people talking about 139 being possible. And we used to talk about how stupid it was, and it's like, no, it's not possible. It's just not going to happen. It's way too hard. It's a joke. No, 2015, rather. This was mid-2015. My bad. I was like, this can't happen. It's just not going to happen. It's ridiculous. So, like, the whole like narrative of like oh, this time is impossible. It's just too, it's not humanly, it's been happening since the beginning of speedrunning all the time. And we are always wrong every time. We have been wrong every single time. That's why when people ask now, do you think this is going to happen to you? Do you think 134 is, my answer is, I don't know. And that's it. Like, I cannot answer that question with a real true opinion. Well, the true opinion is I don't know. I should just start saying yes. Because we're always wrong.
Run, the
we always
SDA
have been, at
community
least.
lost interest in 120 star, as well as most other Mario 64 categories. Throughout the rest of 2006,
This is considering full natty. What is natty? What is natty? Is that a TikTok thing? There wasn't really any tech. Yeah, but the same in 2015, where there was much less tech than we thought would happen too. You can say that for any time period. Because we can say right now that, oh, there's not enough tech to get a 133. But in 2 years from now, there are going to be a lot more strats found and stuff implemented that we don't know about. We could say it at any point. That goes for any period.
2007 and 2008.
How would we know
Dragorn's
if it
record
doesn't
stood
exist yet?
unchallenged. Then, in 2009, a new Super Mario 64 community popped up. But this time, it was in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to now, 120 star hadn't seen competition from this part of the world.
Fuck.
But in 2009, a group of runners from Japan started streaming speedruns to Nico Nico, a site that let you both live stream
Nico's
and upload
that old?
videos.
2009.
This new community turned into the best speedrunners the game had ever seen. They were aware of Dragorn's 120 star record on SDA and set that as their goal time to beat. Once they blew past that record, they competed against each other to take the 120 star record as low as possible. How did they do it? Well, on SDA, all the runners had to go off of was their own records. But by 2009, this new community had a great advantage. They had the SDA videos, plus their own live streams, a thriving community filled with players, competitive single-star leaderboards, and more. Runners were able to better collaborate, and it led to way more optimization than the game had seen previously. However, there are a couple caveats about their runs. For one thing, Nico didn't save livestream recordings over 30 minutes long, so the majority of records from this time period are lost. A few videos did survive, and we'll talk about those in a minute, but most records only exist as text on a web page. And then there's the other caveat: version differences.
What's up, Jared?
All early runs of the game were played on Nintendo 64. However, by 2009, it was very possible to play the game on an emulator. While Speed Demo's archive expressly prohibited the use of emulators, that wasn't a universal rule. And over in Japan, the Mario 64 speedrunning community was essentially starting from scratch. They decided to allow emulators for speedrun submissions. And as it turns out,
Really? I thought it was going to be the complete opposite. Because it's always been known that the Japanese community is very stringent on their, like, you know, original console stuff.
Key difference between emulator and console runs. An emulator has much faster load times and much less lag than a Nintendo 64. The time adds up quickly. Over the course of a 2-hour run, an emulator picks up about a full minute compared to an original console. That means emulator runners have a roughly 60-second advantage. Players in Japan couldn't agree if they should prioritize original hardware or the fastest version available, so there was high-level competition on both. For the next year and a half, the majority of world records were set on emulator, and most were set by one player, Honey. He repeatedly lowered his time down through 2:05, down to 2 hours flat, before finally achieving a 1:59.20. On Nintendo 64, this time would be a full minute slower. But remember, Dragorn's best run on console was a 2:10, so this 1:59 was in a class of its own. How was Honey able to save so much time over Dragorn's run, which was itself considered excellent when it was achieved? Well, luckily, Honey's 1:59 is one of the few runs from this period with surviving video. So we're actually able to see it, and it is nothing short of incredible.
So let's watch the whole run right now.
Once again, we'll start with the movement. Honey used more than just long jumps to move around quickly. he mixed in dives and rollouts to move a little bit faster. This may have saved a second or two per star, but across the whole run, this adds up to multiple minutes of time save. Beyond the movement, Honey went for numerous faster strategies that were riskier than what Dragorn did, and showed off a higher level of gameplay overall. For instance, in Bob-omb Battlefield, you're intended to open the cannon and launch up to the big island in the sky, which is what Dragorn did. Instead, Honey gained speed off the slope, then did a triple jump with the wing cap to fly and make it up top.
2010 island jump. Island, what do you call that? Sky jump?
He went for and hit Owlless, a very precise trick where you must triple jump and kick off the side of the cage, then land back inside to collect the star.
Imagine triple jumping. Funny. IMO, I think double jump is like, I would say the same difficulty when you get used to it as triple jump.
It only saves a few seconds over using the owl to drop in, but this is the level of execution that Honey could pull off. Another example of strategy improvement is how he handled the level Hazy Mazy Kazy Cave, or HMC for short. This level has mid-level Hazy Mazy Kazy Cave. Another
I like Salt's, like, I've noticed more and more humor in his videos that he just kind of adds in nonchalantly and gets people like, wait, hold on, what? It's really good.
Example of strategy improvement is
Alex64. Alex64, are you the Alex that I'm thinking of? From forever ago? No, your account was created 2018. One of the people that worked on this video is named Alex64, who was a runner back when I started. He was around a very long time ago. Where is the pinned comment? Alex64. But they haven't been around for a long time, so I was like, wait a minute, are you...
How he handled...
But yeah, I love the humor here. Hazy Mazy Kazy Cave.
Hazy Mazy Kazy Cave, or HMC for short. This level has many different rooms, but there's no ceiling. So if you can get high enough to clear the walls, then you can quickly jump from room to room. For
anything you want in HMC.
Side flipping and kicking off the wall in the elevator room, Honey was able to clear the wall and make it to the swimming beast in the cavern star. He did similar tricks all through HMC to save 2 minutes for Dragorn. This type of gameplay continued even upstairs during some of the game's hardest levels. Just about the only major flaw was a death in the Wing Mario over the Rainbow
Oh, that's
Star,
an unfortunate
which
death.
kicked him all the way outside the castle. Despite that, it finished 11 minutes faster than Dragorn's SDA run. One of those minutes came from emulator time saves, but the other 10 were legit. Just better gameplay across the entire run. Over the next few months, the 120-star record underwent a period of rapid improvement. These new runners were all pushing each other, breaking new ground and seeing just how far their talent could take them. Remember, 120-star speedruns...
YTP is YouTube poop, right? I know nothing about YTP. I watched one video somebody sent me of YTP, and I was like, this is not for me. I hope people enjoy this content, but it's not for me.
They're still pretty novel, and as much skill as
not
they
my
took,
kind of humor.
There was room to optimize them more. Throughout 2010, there were several more records set on both emulator and console. Batora, Honey, and Natoshin Elmo traded the record back and forth.
So, dude, Batora was...
no video exists for any of their runs.
Batora has been around forever. This is showing you... Batora was one of the OGs, man. And he is the only OG that's been around for this long that still technically plays to this day. 2010, Batora had world records. It's even older than Siglemic, yeah.
Finally, 7 months after the last record with surviving video, we're able to see another one.
Alright, it's time to sit down.
156.17 on console by a runner named
Shigeru.
Shigeru. When accounting for emulator time difference, this run was 4 minutes faster than the last record with video. That's a lot of progression over just 7 months. Shigeru's biggest strength was his movements, which can be seen in the Bowser stages. These levels have objects that move on cycles, like elevators and moving platforms. In Bowser in the Dark World, Shigeru's movement collecting the 8 red coins was fast enough to make an earlier cycle, which is still known today as Shigeru Cycle. He also saved time by going for front sub in Dire Dire Docks. Boarding from the front has more lag and is more precise than boarding from the back, but it is faster, and Shigeru nailed it. He avoided dying on the Wing Mario over the Rainbow Star, and was just a little bit cleaner overall than what we saw 7 months ago. Then, in the summer of 2010, due to concerns over cheating, the Japanese community decided to split the leaderboards for 120 star.
Oh boy.
Emulator runs would have one leaderboard, and console runs would have another.
Alright.
This led to the community starting to prioritize.
So the first time, I always wondered about this, the first split that happened was in the Japanese community in 2010. I did not know this, and this is good knowledge. What's up, Jayborn? I didn't know this, and that is good knowledge. 2010. And now I can argue, I think I can argue now in 2025, we're kind of slowly entering that conversation again of maybe we should possibly consider putting them together again. I've seen people saying that they think that they should just put it together again. People should speedrun on Emmy more. Because, you know, inevitably we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, consoles are getting kind of cringe, right? To like obtain and shit.
Console runs, and most runners began to switch away from emulator. By late 2010, pretty much all top runners were playing on console, and directly competed against Shigeru's 156 world record. The next several months were more of the same. Elmo set a new world record time of 155.42. Elmo! Later in December, Batora got a 154 and then a 152. All these runs were on console, with no more controversy over which platform was best. In early 2011, Notoshin Elmo got a 151, Honey beat him back with a 150, before Notoshin Elmo came through with a 149.49. This was the first ever sub 150 in Mario 64 history, and remains one of its most popular records, with 12 million views on YouTube.
What? I had no idea. Holy shit. 12 million views, dude. The first 149, May of 2011.
But there's not too much to add about these runs. They didn't incorporate anything revolutionary. It was all about cleaner execution and fewer mistakes. Honey's 149 in particular was a masterpiece of consistency. Over the past year, these runners have been pushing each other to minimize mistakes and execute all strategies cleanly. And Honey's 149 was viewed as the pinnacle, the most consistent run the game had ever seen. This was a vibrant, active group that had transformed the way 120-star speedruns were done. The amount of new tricks, the incredible movement, they just kept finding ways to take the record lower. The Japanese community formed 2 years earlier, and in that time they'd taken the world record down by 21 minutes.
Wow.
During that entire period,
Very good.
Nobody outside of Japan was competitive for the 120-star record. The last relevant Western player was Dragorn back in 2006. Now 5 years later, that was still the fastest time outside of Japan. While games like Super Mario Bros. And Ocarina of Time were growing and thriving, 120-star had essentially been abandoned by the West. But that was about to change.
The American re-emergence. Yay,
in 2010,
USA.
a website called Speedruns Live
Speedruns Live, baby. Damn, I just felt a wave of nostalgia looking at this. Speedruns Live was the home of speedrun. It was basically the speedrun Twitch website, where if you were a speedrunner, you went to Speedruns Live, and I just had it open all day, and that's where you watched all the speedrun streams. And like, to be able to be eligible to be on the front page of Speedruns Live when you go live, you had to like stream a certain amount of hours and be part of the website for a certain amount of time and like have a certain amount of viewers, and you had to have something on your title of your stream. And if you didn't, you would get kicked out of the website. Like, and this is where you went to do all like the races. So when I started speedrunning, you would go on the races page and you just see people starting races in the chat. What do you call the type of chat they use? I can't remember. And you would create a race, people would join you, and you would just race against people, and like it was just
popular. Speedruns Live
pure
allowed you to
man.
race a game head-to-head against anybody. It kept track of your
ROM
time.
Scout. I forgot about ROM Scout. Summoning Salt. And they had like, you would have like points, and they had leaderboards and shit for who, almost like a ranking system in each game category.
And declared a winner at the end.
IRC chat, that was it. Yeah.
Speedrunners loved using it, and by late 2010, A group of runners were regularly racing Super Mario 64. They learned fast strategies to collect all the stars and pushed each other to get better. While their times weren't impressive at first, their frequent races allowed them to improve quickly. By 2011, a few of them had gotten good, really good, to the point of starting to rival the amazing players over in Japan. 3 players rose above the rest. Their names were Giano, Sicko, and Siglemic. By mid-2011, through repeated races against each other, they all managed to get personal bests in the low 150s.
So this literally was equivalent to the Cheese, Simply, and Punkay arc. So there was the Giano, Sicko, Siglemic arc, the 3 top friends speedrunning and calling together. A few years later, we had the Simply, Cheese, Punkay arc, where we did the same thing. And we were all like, you know, it's kind of crazy. I never really thought about that until I've seen it right now.
Just a few minutes behind the world record. All 3 players were roughly equal in skill. They raced every week, and it was a mix of who came out on top. But that gradually changed. Over time, one player came out on top more often. By the summer of 2011, the winner of the majority of these races was Siglemic. He took the game more seriously. He practiced more often. After setting a personal best of 151.15 in June, Siglemic started to feel that he had a chance to take the record. He grinded for weeks, playing for hours nearly every single day. His time started to approach the record shockingly fast. It took him just months to get times that took most runners years. It was exciting to watch him improve, and many were rooting for him. If he could pull this off, it'd be the first record outside of Japan in half a decade. And then, on July 23rd, 2011, it happened. Siglemic got a 149.05, a new world record by 40.
July 23rd of 2011. That's only 2 months after Elmo got his 149. That's only 2 months after. Wow. I thought it would have been. Oh, it's on VC though. That's true.
4 seconds.
Oh shit.
Siglemic did one notable thing in this run that really exemplifies his playstyle. He chose to play Womp's Fortress early, right after collecting
it really looks terrible, doesn't it?
First star. This was so he could go for a trick called Cannonless. You're intended to get the Blast Away the Wall star by launching out of the cannon, breaking the wall, and revealing the star. However, it's possible to run at the wall from above, then ledge grab, which pushes Mario's hitbox above where he appears. It intersects with the star, and you collect it without having to get in the cannon.
Wait, so you're telling me it's not about having the perfect star rotation? I've been lied to for 10 years? What the fuck? I thought you have to fall on the right star rotation, and then he grabs the thing with the...
trick is extremely precise. You can run at the wall all you want, and usually you won't ledge grab. So, Siglemic chose to go for this trick very early in the run.
That's a very old speedrun joke, by the way. A lot of you probably don't get it because it's like 10 years old, but it's a... Just ignore it, whatever.
If he missed it too many times, then he'd just reset, not having wasted too much time. In this new record, he got cannonless quickly, setting him off to a great start. But here's the weird thing. Beyond this, while the run was fantastic, some who watched it felt it wasn't quite as impressive as the previous record. Siglemic made more mistakes, his movement wasn't quite as good. It's what you'd expect from someone who'd been running the game for under a year. But his time was faster than Elmo's run.
By a lot.
There was no denying it. Something wasn't adding up. Now, most in Japan respected Speed Demo's archive, and when Siglemic's run was posted to the site, they immediately took notice. But instead of being wowed by Siglemic's achievement, many of them were upset.
Yeah.
And they had a good reason. See, Siglemic didn't play on an emulator, but he also didn't play on a Nintendo 64. He played on the Wii Virtual Console. This version was what many Western speedrunners played on at the time. It was cheap if you already owned a Wii, and easier than a Nintendo 64. It also just happened to save a full 2 minutes from reduced loads and lag. That meant if Siglemic's...
I actually thought it was 3 minutes. Is it only 2 minutes? I thought it was 3.
run was played on an original console like Elmo's, it probably would have been
I also started on
151.
VC too, by the way.
That's a fair distance from the record. Siglemic's run was objectively worse. The only reason it was faster was because of Virtual Console. Now, Japan had a Virtual Console version too, but it was much slower than the US version.
Really?
So if a Japanese runner wanted to compete with Siglemic, they'd either have to do so with a 2-minute disadvantage, or import an American Wii, which was very expensive and overall difficult at the time. This could have caused a massive controversy. Runners from all over the world playing on different versions, it would have been a mess. But Siglemic knew he could put an end to this right now. When Honey explained how hard it would be to beat his Virtual Console run, Siglemic responded, "Okay, I'll play on the Nintendo 64 going forward." And just
he said, "Okay, bro, hold my beer. Give me like 3 months."
Like that, the matter was settled.
Oh, Shindu,
all
okay.
the top runners in Japan and the top runner in America would all play on Nintendo 64. To this day, top-level Mario 64 competition is nearly exclusively done on original console. Over the next few months, Siglemic practiced and adjusted to the Nintendo 64, while Japanese runners continued to excel. That fall, Honey beat the record twice, first with a 149.25, then a 148.50. But in November, a new runner from Japan took over, Nero, and he became the first to implement a crazy trick at the start of the run, LBLJ. Bear with me for a moment, because this is a strange one. In Super Mario 64, there's a trick.
Wait. Nero was doing BLJs in 120 before 2014. What? My understanding was LBLJ in 120 was only ever a thing when Nero started doing it. No, not Nero. The idea was pitched it was near the end of 2015. Where was it Toast Rider? The idea came up and then a Toast Rider made a video showing a comparison. I remember seeing Toast Rider making a video about it. Or somebody, and it was shown to be faster.
Trick used in various categories called the backwards long jump, where you build up reverse speed by repeatedly
9 ads? I don't know why you're getting 9 ads. I don't play much ads per hour at all. People get random amounts of ads. I don't know why.
Now, LBLJ
I apologize on behalf of Twitch.
Lobby backwards long jump. By jumping into an out-of-bounds area accessible from the basement, you can repeatedly BLJ into the basement's ceiling, which extends upward. You land in a black area right outside the front door with a lot of speed built up, then rotate the camera to help navigate Mario toward the 8-star door and through it. What's the benefit of this? Well, you normally have to collect the first star of the run in Bob-on Battlefield, but you can't collect all the stars there until you have the wing cap, unlocked at 10 stars. This means you have to eventually backtrack to Bob-on Battlefield once you have the wing cap. With LBLJ, you collect the first star in Bowser in the Dark World, eliminating the need to backtrack and saving 10 seconds. It's a hard trick for not a huge time save, but Nero was good at it and pioneered it in 120-star runs. Ever since Siglemic's Virtual Console run, the Japanese community had picked up where they left off, continuing to improve and lower the record. Honey and Nero had each beaten the record twice, shaving 2 minutes off the time. Meanwhile, Siglemic practiced hard on Nintendo 64, trying to catch up to the runners in Japan. He got better, soon surpassing where he was on Virtual Console. After months of practicing, he once again set his sights on the record. In late 2011, Siglemic started live streaming his attempts to break the 120-star world record. He streamed to a brand new website called twitch.tv, and something strange happened. His live stream went viral. Many people had never seen Mario 64 speedruns before, and were captivated by Siglemic's level of gameplay. It was a novel concept to play the game like this, and seeing a potential world record live was exciting. His Twitch stream grew quickly. After a couple months, he was regularly pulling thousands of viewers. His community was determined to see him reclaim the record. How
did people even find that? I guess it was a site already before that, right? under Justin.
watching him play for hours and hours. The hype continued to build, while Siglemic continued to close in on the record. And it all culminated in a run just after Christmas 2011. Siglemic played a bit differently than Nero. He didn't go for LBLJ, but overall executed tricks a little faster. He hit Cannonless, got the fast cycle and Fire Sea that Nero missed, and went for a risky triple jump.
Fire Sea was
off
the
fin
hardest thing in the entire
Box
world
100
back
win.
then, dude.
After all this, Siglemic
Getting Lava Boost Cycle and Fire Sea was like a rarity and a dream come true.
made it upstairs 25 seconds ahead of the record. Hype was building in the chat as the viewer count climbed into the thousands. The fast execution continued upstairs. His practice from the past few months paid off. He closed out the last few levels, defeated Bowser,
The
and
raw was
broke
different,
the
yeah.
world record in front of 4,500 viewers. This record made Siglemic an internet phenomenon.
147.10. So that was Siglemic's first official N64 world record, huh? On the 28th of December, 2011. Damage.
Threads appeared on all different forums. News articles were written. Everyone wanted to hear about the man who'd
Speech.
broken the world record live on stream. Siglemic had escaped from the niche of speedrunning and entered mainstream pop culture. It was the most attention speedrunning had ever received before. Many wondered how they could get involved, while others were happy to have just witnessed it live. After all was said and done, Siglemic was satisfied and stopped playing 120 star. So, the Japanese community was able to take over once again. The three top runners in the world
For a few months. It's crazy how like so much seems to have happened in such a short time back then. And nowadays it feels like a year passes, nothing really happens. Some top runners might get a PB here and there. And nowadays it's like if a world record happens once a year, it's like holy shit, big deal. And it just feels like it's so much time could pass without anything happening and doesn't even feel like a big deal. Whereas back then, 3 months, 10 new records, all sorts of shit is happening.
were Siglemic, Honey, and Nero. So it was only fitting that once Siglemic broke the record, Honey and Nero quickly followed suit. In March of 2012, Honey got a 147.05, then Nero got a 146.35.
Huge.
Both new world records. So, the ball was back in Siglemic's court. He resumed streaming attempts to take back the record, but this time he ran into some serious adversity. Throughout the spring and summer of 2012, Siglemic streamed often, but he wasn't able to break through. He was still getting a lot of viewers,
What are you talking
captivating
about,
the
Wall?
attention of speedrunning fans everywhere.
Dude, Shanzi. I forgot about Shanzi and Tufu. I missed them. I wonder what they're doing.
Yet this
Those
time,
are
they
speedrunners.
weren't rewarded with a new record. Siglemic was in a unique spot. He had an enormous live stream, played the most popular speedrun,
Look at the website back then, dude. Look at that. Look at the subscribe button.
and he really wanted to reclaim the record. So, that summer, he devised a plan. A plan that, to this day, remains a famous part of speedrunning history. The August Marathon. Throughout August 2012, Siglemic was going to stream for 12 hours a day, every single day, and hopefully lower the world record as much as he could.
Damn.
Siglemic's
I get a
August
migraine just thinking
Marathon
about
is a
that.
legend from the old days of speedrunning. Unlike his previous streams, Siglemic put splits on the screen, so viewers could follow along and see exactly how far ahead or behind he was. The splits in his gameplay on stream were enough to keep viewers captivated. Despite hardly talking at all, not even using a microphone for extended periods,
He did the first
viewers
subathon without
poured
subs,
into
yeah.
these streams. Every day, he'd
Somebody said
regularly have
fake
a few
in the
thousand
chat.
viewers as a baseline. When he got on world record pace, it'd go up to 7,000, 8,000, even 10,000 viewers or more. And keep in mind, this was back in the year 2012. Despite this
It's funny how it says like this is 2012, but the thing is like the earlier you go, the more viewers people got for being good at a game. And nowadays it's like the complete flip side. Nowadays it's like it's a very different thing where not nobody, but most people, like the novelty of being amazing at a popular game, it just does not exist anymore. Like nobody cares in comparison about being, if you're good at Mario, great. There are 100 other good Mario players. Oh, you have like a 1 or 2 up paced run going? Cool, man. We see that like 10 times a day. Nobody cares. So back then, it was like, oh my god, this one person is like insane at this childhood game I grew up with. Holy shit. But now the 20-year-olds of today that grew up with Mario Galaxy or even like Call of Duty and shit, they don't have that connection whatsoever. They don't care about Mario 64 like we did when we were kids watching, you know? So why would they care so much? Especially when they could just go on YouTube and literally in 5 seconds pull up anybody's PBs or world records immediately. So it actually makes sense that the earlier you go, the more insane it was in that sense. I care and I'm 16, that's good. But I'm talking about a care based off of nostalgia. Because like speedrunning worked off of nostalgia. People watched this because it was like, oh my god, my childhood game is getting destroyed. That was the whole premise, right?
Speedrunning community
but kids nowadays
much
obviously
larger
don't
today.
have
These
that
types of numbers are practically impossible for a modern speedrunner to achieve. Today's viewing base is divided between hundreds or even thousands of streamers playing live at the same time. But in 2012,
that's very good, Nala. Very good.
Siglemic was one of only
am I going
a
to Germany
few
sometime?
speedrunning
Maybe in the
streamers,
future.
and he was
I would love
playing
to.
an
I went to
iconic
Berlin once. It was
game
great.
At the highest level. It was a perfect storm of conditions that often led to a viewer
Twitch.
count.
This is the month-long join more customer from other. Was this Twitter? Was Twitter around back in 2012? I don't know. August 1st, 2012, Twitch tweeted, holy shit.
10,000. One of the biggest live streamers in the world. They didn't care about a face cam, a microphone, or any of that.
Yeah.
They just wanted to see an amazing player destroy their video game. There's only one problem. Many years ago, Siglemic deleted all of his Mario 64 gameplay from Twitch and YouTube, meaning his August marathon has very little surviving footage. Thankfully, a few of his viewers were recording his stream during some of his good runs, and certain full runs were downloaded before they were deleted from YouTube.
Why did he do that? Did he delete them or did they get deleted?
But still, much of his August marathon is completely lost to time. That being said, here's what we do know about the marathon. Siglemic started on August 1st, and for the first 3 days, nothing notable happened. But then on August 4th, he got a run that you're familiar with.
Uh-oh. This was the 4th day.
It happened in front of 8,000 viewers during his August marathon. He had to come out of his crouch before jumping, then messed up his angle toward the star. As painful as this was, Siglemic was at the top of his game, and with daily 12-hour streams, there was no doubt he'd get another chance soon. Sure enough, on day 5 of the marathon, he got another run on record pace. Not quite as fast as what he had yesterday, though. He made mistakes upstairs, but nothing catastrophic. And after 5 days, 60 hours of streaming, Siglemic managed to break through.
113.
Oh my God, that was really the world record.
14,000 viewers had just witnessed a new world record. Once again,
14,000.
the news made it around the internet. But this was only August 5th. He still had more than 3 weeks to go. His record was 146.23. If he could clean up
it's like a 106, high 106 up.
Mistakes in Tiny Huge Island and Rainbow Ride, a 145
You were there that day? Were you actually, Svein?
was within his reach.
I think I was watching speedruns back then, but very like not that often sometimes. I was very much in my Call of Duty days back in 2012, around this era. I was watching lots of Black Ops 2 zombie streamers playing a lot of zombies. And I would sometimes go on speedruns live, but I wasn't watching much Mario 64, so I didn't actually know about Siglemic's marathon and shit. I watched much more like Zelda, Ocarina of Time, speedrun stuff, and other shit.
Not much happened on
I wasn't actually really in the Mario scene yet back then.
day 6, but on day 7, Siglemic set another new record, 146.21, just a 2-second improvement. Unfortunately, no footage of this run survives today. All we have are a couple screenshots from the end of the run, showing his splits and the chat that was popping off. The August Marathon was already a huge success. In only a week, Siglemic had broken the record twice and had the attention of the entire speedrunning community. Still 24 days to go. The 12-hour streams continued, and just 2 days later, something genuinely shocking happened. The 145 was achieved by Honey.
Ha!
While all eyes were on Siglemic,
Shit.
Honey had been doing 120-star runs too. Not quite as much, but still several hours per day. The final time was 145.41, and the video still exists in its entirety. The most notable part was a new trick he went for called Pillarless. Normally, to enter the top of the pyramid, you must reach the top of all 4 pillars to cause the pyramid's top to fly off. Pillarless is a complicated trick that skips this. You throw and re-grab a bomb just before it explodes, pushing Mario backwards,
strat.
then enter a state called hands-free holding and carefully navigate inside the top of the pyramid. It's very risky to go for in a long 120-star speedrun. Beyond that, Honey didn't add anything new. He simply played very consistently,
Pillarless alone
especially
saves,
in Rainbow Ride, where
I don't know how
Siglemic
much
had
it
struggled
saves.
so much.
15
Siglemic
seconds,
was
maybe
a good
20
sport about being
less.
beaten.
One up
After all,
coin.
he had 22 days left to beat him back. Surely that would be enough time, right? Well, it took him 3 hours. This run too has become lost to time.
No way.
But on the same evening as Honey's record, Siglemic beat him with a 145.35. We have but one screenshot of this run, showing 7,300 viewers losing their mind in the chat. Very little is known about the run itself.
Only 3 hours, dude. I had no idea.
Judging by his splits, there was a major time loss in Shifting Sandland, and he capitalized on time save in Rainbow Ride. In just the first 9 days of his August marathon, Siglemic had set 2 records, been beaten, and then reclaimed the record. He couldn't have asked for a more exciting start.
Hi,
These
police.
12-hour streams continued every day for the rest of the month, with thousands of viewers watching at all times. But over the final 22 days of
And all this video ends? No, I have not seen any. I have not seen the video. People keep talking about the end of the video. I have not seen it. I don't have any idea what's gonna happen.
August, he didn't
I
set
don't know
any
what's
new
happening.
records. While we have a poor account of these remaining 22 days, Siglemic was known to have had some close
You guys are getting me
calls.
excited.
On August 23rd, he had a beautiful run. All this info comes from a single post on Reddit. He seems to have had a modest lead, got a huge time save in Shifting Sandland, then gained more time upstairs. He was about a minute ahead of his 145.35, on pace for a mid 144. But something went horribly wrong in Rainbow Ride. These sorts of paces happened multiple times through the rest of August. The month ended with no new records, but it felt like a 144 was right on the doorstep. Even though the daily 12-hour streams were done, Siglemic was still motivated. And right on cue, on September 1st, he came through with the first ever 144.
September for the day after the marathon. That's so funny.
This record is notable for being one of very few records from Siglemic that survived in its entirety. We can watch it from start to finish. And a pretty significant change in this run is Siglemic's route through the lobby. He played Cool Cool Mountain later, then saved Jolly Roger Bay as the last level before going upstairs.
Right, the Jerby late route, which is a pretty cool route, by the way. Like, for those who don't like Jerby, could actually do this route. Nowadays, it's kind of tough because we have frame walk. You know, the whole Jerby is actually hard now. So, like, back then, Jerby was very simple, no hard strats really. So why not, like, do it later? You know, do CCM, which is more troublesome, and then leave Jerby late. I don't really think it's slower. I don't see why it would be much slower. Relatively negligible back then, especially. Didn't really matter.
This worked out well, as despite falling off the sub in Dire Docks, he opened up a 44-second lead over the record.
Wow.
He used the same route upstairs, which had been standard for quite some time now. Wet Dry World first, followed by Tiny Huge Island, Tall Mountain,
That's
and
trap.
Snowman's Land. Then up to Tippy for Tick-Tock Clock and Rainbow Ride. Of these levels, Tiny Huge Island was a bit slow at times, especially on the 100 coin star. But the key to success in 120 star is consistency, and Siglemic avoided any huge mistakes. It's what he needed to get a 144.52. And once again, the record blew up online. Forum threads,
Siglemic. Oh my god. That was uploaded by, I remember Siglemic. I used to talk to him quite a bit.
blog posts, par for the course for Siglemic. This guy captured the
Tumblr.
gaming community's attention like no speedrunner had ever done before. Every record was in front of thousands of viewers, and was heard by many thousands more in the following days. It really can't be overstated the impact Siglemic had on speedrunning back in 2012. Through his August marathon and hundreds of hours of dedication, he'd achieved a 144 while making speedrunning more popular than ever. Throughout the rest of 2012, Siglemic played the game off and on. His motivation dried up a bit once there were no threats to his record. He developed a cycle where he wouldn't play for several weeks, then came back and did a 12 or 24 hour stream. It seemed like a perfect...
Back then, he was on front page. Back then, you would just get put on front page of Twitch without even knowing. That happened to me once where one of my records I got, mid-record, I noticed that I had like 10,000 viewers all of a sudden, and people are like, oh my god, you're on front page. I was just put on front page randomly during one of my runs, which nowadays they don't ever do, right? Because for obvious reasons, right? Because you never know when somebody could just be put on front page and they start shouting like curse words like way too much, or like talking about some weird shit where they don't know they're on front page, and that could be very bad, right? So like now they don't do that ever. Now you have to apply and you get this whole rigorous process. You have to fill out forms and then maybe they accept you for front page. So
run with his strategies and skills could be a 143. He had a high 144 right now, so he'd have to take another minute off. It was possible by cleaning up mistakes, but sustaining that level of gameplay over an hour and a half would be tough.
I mean, yeah, probably
in October,
void. Yeah.
Siglemic took a step in that
For sure.
direction with a 144.23. As opposed to his last record,
Is front page actually
practically
relevant? I mean,
nothing is known
yes.
about this.
I had a front page stream a month ago, and I had like 3,000 viewers throughout the entire 8 hours. Do you get any sort of like actual real retention? I didn't notice maybe any new viewers coming into my stream after that and saying, hey, I found you from front page. Not a single one. But you had a consistent 2,000 to 3,000 viewers for 8 hours, which is weird because none of them were really engaging whatsoever. They were just like sitting on the stream, I guess. I got like 60 new followers, sure, which is a bit more than usual, right? But like only 60 followers out of a consistent 2,000 to 3,000 viewers over 8 hours is much less than you would expect. But it's new followers, so you do get something, and I guess you get some more ad revenue, right? But yeah, it's hard to really get actual anything from it unless you do some crazy shit on stream that, I don't know, that happens to capture people. But it's something. It's like, why not do it kind of situation, you know?
This run. No footage exists, and no splits have been provided. All we have are a couple screenshots someone posted to Reddit seconds after the end of the run. Siglemic continued this sporadic playstyle over the next couple months, and on December 19th, he came through with one more world record. 144.
When?
18th, it continued the sporadic
December
playstyle
19th.
over the next couple months, and on December 19th, he came through with one
Hi,
more
honey,
world
syrup.
record. 144.01. This is another run with a full surviving video. His only significant mistake downstairs was when he messed up pillarless and died, costing him 25 seconds. Upstairs, he had a slow rainbow ride star when he missed the switch and then failed the backup. Those were his biggest mistakes across an hour.
Oh man. So funny enough, I've done this backup in a run before in one of my records, I think. Okay, Snelms. I actually was thinking about it and I kind of forgot already, but I can remind myself. I did this backup once, and like people don't know. A lot of people don't know about this backup, and I actually learned this backup from I think watching this run or a part of this run, and I saw this backup, and I was like, "That's sick," and I actually had to use it in a run once. I think it's one of the coolest backups ever, to be honest.
If he'd only been 2 seconds faster, this would have been the 143. But it was still a really solid run, and a big cut off the record. This run finally satisfied Siglemic.
This was his last
He was
record
now ahead
for
of second place by a minute
almost
and
2
a
years.
half, and his motivation died down even more. He was the king of Super Mario 64. He had the notoriety, the name recognition, and of course, his records spoke for themselves. When anyone thought of Mario 64 speedrunning, they thought of Siglemic. He ran 120 star live at Awesome Games Done Quick in January 2013. This was the first time most people had seen him before. Many called his run the best part of the week-long marathon. Entering 2013,
Why were they wearing sunglasses?
Part of the
Oh, you guys can't see his face because my camera's blocking. There you go. Giving very fanboy energy, of course.
week-long marathon. People had seen him before. Many called his run the best part of the week-long marathon.
And this is Trihex. For those who don't know, Trihex. Looking young and beautiful. Still does. Siglemic. Narcissa Wright. I don't... Is this, fuck, Fuzzy, what's this guy's name again? I know who he is, but I can't remember his name. What is this guy's name again? I know him. Oh, shit. I don't remember. This is Gunner. Not Gunner. Gunner is his name? Shit. I know this guy too. And I don't know his name. Golden. That's his name. How do you know that? Right? That's crazy you know that. Yeah. Golden, not Gunner. I was thinking of Gunner Maniac is somebody else. This is Golden. But this guy, God. I don't know who most of these people are. This guy looks familiar. I know this guy. He's shit. Forgetting people's names. This is Tokyo. Isn't this Tokyo? The OT guy? I don't know who this is. Not gonna lie. I don't think I've ever seen this person. I don't know who that is. Is this Carsey? Bro, there's this carcinogen in the back. I know his face. Is that Carsey, dude? I think it is. This is Spike, of course. Runner guy. Can't not know Runner guy. He's a legend. I'm not sure who this is. Not sure who this is. Not sure who this is. All right, that's enough.
Entering 2013, Siglemic streams really slowed down.
Middle guy is Andy. Okay.
He went months at a time without playing. A 143 was still possible, but it wasn't a high priority for him. There was no telling how long it'd take for him to be dethroned. Way ahead of everyone else, with his legacy already set in stone, Siglemic rode off into the sunset.
He was done for now. I'm guessing it's the Puncay arc.
On August 18th, 2013, the Super Mario 64 community woke up to some pretty shocking news. A player named Hyasin 27 had supposedly just beaten Siglemic.
Shit, the controversial Hyasin world record. All right. Well,
20 star record.
Right.
The new time was 1:43:37, and he had streamed it live.
Liam paused the stream here and said, "Ew, why?"
Many had never heard of this guy before, and now it seemed like he'd somehow beaten Siglemic to the 143. Supportive messages poured in. Even Twitch themselves congratulated Hyasin. But how could this happen? What was going on? Well, while Siglemic got massive attention for his 120 star records in 2012, a group of runners was trying to get good in the background on Wii Virtual Console, which, as we know, would give them a 2-minute advantage. There was still no official ruling on Virtual Console runs, so they knew
which was weird.
Run.
I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that they made in the Mario community early on that kind of started this entire years of controversy and conversation in the community of like always the war amongst consoles and people complaining about this and making fun of EMU players and VC. Back then we should have been like, here's the deal. Can't run on this, or separate this. Very well understood. If you run on VC, it can't be, but it wasn't. And then, yeah.
Run might be considered the official world record, even if it was worse played than Siglemic's runs on console. Over time, most of these runners gave up, but one kept going. Hyasin. Throughout early 2013, he got good on Virtual Console. By August, with the built-in advantage, he was good enough to beat Siglemic's time, technically achieving the first 143 in Super Mario 64 history. And controversy erupted.
Yeah.
Hyasin was a very good player, but the footage showed he wasn't on Siglemic's level. He got some hard tricks, like cannonless and pillarless, but he had plenty of slow moments, and overall, his movement wasn't as clean either. The community was divided on how to treat this run. Some felt it was a legit new world record, and Siglemic should have been playing on Virtual Console all along.
If one's faster for some reason, then why not play it? That's such a good, simple question that we honestly, have never given... I don't think I've ever heard a straight answer to this question in the 11 years I've been speedrunning. If a version's faster, why not play on it? And I don't think I've ever heard an answer to this question. Because this and that. At least in the Mario 64 community. It's never actually been answered. I don't know, in a very objective way. Because it can't really be objective. And I guess that's the problem. It's people opinion. My opinion is because of this and that. My opinion is because of that. Isn't that the IQ thing? The IQ thing for OT? Because it hurts my feelings. Right. Okay. Yeah. Do you consistently want to be changing what you play on because the new thing is faster? Yeah, so that's the problem. From Mario 64 community, it's been kind of different to I always compare it to OOT community because they are very different in the way they approach this stuff, right? In OOT, it actually very much is, and always has been, about whatever's faster, let's do it. That's what the OOT community has been doing. VC became faster for 100% because we found some strats. New routes came out. VC is way faster for 100% now. Let's all play on VC. So everybody switched to VC. Players stopped playing as a result, me included, because it's oh, now I have to technically invest in a new console and set up this whole thing and get a whole new setup if I want to play the faster thing, right? And ultimately it comes down to one big issue about it is that now you're gonna have to keep spending money to obtain a new thing because it's the fastest way to play now. And it comes down to, do people want to do that, especially people who don't live off of speedrunning and streaming, to keep spending money on different consoles and shit to keep switching? Or do we just keep it on one thing and be guys, let's keep this console as the main competitive category, and let's just keep it at that, even if it's not the absolute fastest version. But then I think another issue that arises is because a game like OOT keeps changing so much because there's so much tricks and stuff that cause so much changes in routing that the speedrun literally becomes so different because of all this new routes. So because it's such a different route and different experience in the category, it's more strong. It creates a more strong argument as to why you should switch consoles, as opposed to Mario 64, where the route has been the same forever. The only thing that changes is actual strats you do in stars. Otherwise, the route is pretty much the exact same. Regardless of what console you playing on in Mario, the route and the strats are going to be the exact same. So it literally just comes down to which console do we play on, period. And let's create a standard. All right, let's keep...
Others disagreed and thought Virtual Console was its own separate category. It was a valid question. Do you prioritize original hardware or fastest version available? There was no set way of dealing with it. How did Siglemic feel about all this? Well, he wasn't too happy. Here was this new guy, clearly not as good and with an inferior run, claiming world record based off a technicality. Siglemic could have been playing on Virtual Console too, but remember, he chose not to all those years ago so that he could be on equal footing with Japanese runners.
Yeah.
Hyasin did the exact opposite. He specifically picked Virtual Console so he could have an advantage. So, Siglemic devised a plan. He created a brand new Twitch account, Based Earn God. He stuck a weird looking timer in the top left. He booted up Mario 64 on Virtual Console. He distorted the colors to deliberately make it look horrible. He played copyrighted music in the background. And within hours, he beat the run that Hyasin took months to achieve.
Holy fuck, dude. Top bot. Dude, this is the most like mic drop moment in the history of speedrunning. And honestly, we don't talk about this enough. I don't think we talk about... I kind of forgot that this whole thing happened. I haven't seen anybody bring this up in years. And we don't talk about this enough, to be honest. This is one of the most insane things ever to happen in Mario speedrunning. Mario 64 speedrunning. He did this. That's true. I forgot he did this. It's crazy. I'm now world champion Mario 64. Oh, yes.
Siglemic had made a statement. Wii Virtual Console was its own category. Nintendo 64 was the only legit way to run the game. Just like he'd done in 2011, it more or less ended the platform debate. The recognized world record was Siglemic's 144.01 on Nintendo 64, and to this day, nobody else has ever threatened the world record on anything other than an original Nintendo 64.
Until...
After that curious saga was over, things went back to normal. Siglemic did attempts every now and then, but for the most part he left the 120-star record alone. He was tired of resetting over and over again early for canonless. It wasn't too fun.
God, especially back then, dude. The canonless were literally just fall off the plank and hope and pray that you get the star. Imagine we used to do that in runs. We would fall off the plank, please grab the star. If we don't, reset. That's what we did all day. So much so that I remember watching speedruns when Puncay was playing in 2014 and I got into Mario, and Puncay would get canonless and the chat would lose their mind. Oh my god, this is the run. Holy shit. 2 canonless in a row. This is the day. It's gonna be the run. Imagine we used to do that.
But finally, in early 2014, Siglemic started to get some legitimate competition. For the first time since Honey in 2012, somebody moved within half a minute of his world record. The runner's name was Puncayshun.
Puncayshun Station
Puncay
Nation.
started running the game in 2012, inspired by old school runners like Giano and later Siglemic. He began streaming in 2013 and steadily lowered his 120-star PB from the 150s to the 140s, gradually approaching Siglemic's level. This slow and methodical march downward culminated in a 144.30, the closest anyone had been to Siglemic in years. Puncay's run had a particularly slow start, with a bad Whomp's Fortress and Cool Mountain, but that just showed he had more time to save. The potential was there to get a 143. With Puncay closing in, Siglemic ramped up his attempts again. He was so close to a 143. Just 2 more seconds and he'd be satisfied. He started doing 24-hour streams of 120-star, and supposedly had some amazing attempts. A Reddit post from March 18th details one run that was on pace for a massive record deep, but Sig made catastrophic mistakes at the end to kill it. This continued into April. Siglemic just couldn't...
Yeah, Sig was actually like... He had paces. He had like 142 pace runs. Easily 142 pace runs. But to Tippy and shit. Like, Siglemic was still way ahead of Puncay, even when Puncay beat Siglemic technically. But Sig just didn't continue to like... After a while, he just stopped, right? But he was technically still a lot better. Until, you know, maybe like the end of 2014 and stuff, where then we just kind of surpassed it.
Beat his 144.01. Then on April 22nd, it was Puncay coming through with another PB, 144.
What's worse, canonless or frame walk? What are we talking about here? Canonless? Which canonless? Depends on what we're talking about. I think the setup for canonless, like sock folder or texture setup, is fine. Ram, thanks for the sub, bud. How are you? Welcome back to the fridge, bitch. For 98 months. I think canonless is fine. I think like salt canonless and anything apart from salt canonless, like OG, the long jump one, all those are cringe, in my opinion, because I don't think they're actually objectively consistent in any way, or can be. Sock folder, yeah, sock folder. I think maybe he mentions it in the run, in the video, I'll see, but sock folder came up with the first canonless in Womps setup in October, I think 2014. So you thought it was soft boulder? No, sock folder. He folded socks for a living. In October 2014, he came up with the first setup, and it literally changed Mario. Like, you can do canonless consistently, and that's when 120 star was its peak, in my opinion. For the next year after that, until LBLJ happened, and then I hated 120 star again. Well, I didn't hate 120 star. I hated the beginning of 120 star. I remember when LBLJ came out in late 2015 when we started doing it, and I remember like asking Simply in a call, he was like, "Are you sure we want to do this in 120? Like, this is gonna ruin the category." And he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm doing it." And I'm like, and I remember that was that moment where I knew, I was like, I can't believe we're gonna do LBLJ in 120. Like, this is so stupid. And it's, yeah.
11, performed live in front of thousands of viewers. He was now just 10 seconds away from...
I'm spoiling the video. Shit. All right, let's just watch. But anyway,
Siglemic.
It's fine.
This run was also on 143 pace deep, but he died on Rainbow Ride going for the Lakitu bounce. You're intended to go above the red coins to get to the cruiser, but by precisely wall kicking and then bouncing off Lakitu, you can take a shortcut to get there faster. It's difficult, and Puncay died going for it.
Damn.
Had he not, this would have been the first ever 143. Siglemic was on the verge of this slipping away. He'd been dominant ever since the record was a 146. It seemed like 143 would be his natural end goal, but now Puncay had swooped in. And it might be too late. Determined to get the 143, he started up a stream the same day as Puncay's 144.11. Just as usual, Siglemic played for hours, much of that time spent at the start of the game. But eventually, he got a run going, and it was evident that this time, he was locked in.
No.
He gradually worked his way through the basement. Hazy Maze Cave, Lethal Lava Land, Big Boo's Haunt. He made small mistakes, but nothing huge. Star after star went down. He eventually made it upstairs, exactly 1 second ahead of the record. Everything intensified now. He was entering the home stretch, but also some of the game's hardest levels. Despite this, everything went smoothly until he played Tall Tall Mountain. Siglemic failed to enter the wall, and had to bail to another star. Not a huge mistake, but without splits he couldn't tell how bad it was. After, things went well for a while.
Yeah, it's actually not, that's a minor time loss. Not even 10 seconds, I think.
He had a rough 100 coin star in TikTok clock. He missed one single coin from a question mark block.
Oh,
and when
shit.
he tried to chase it down, it had fallen over
Oh,
the edge.
shiza.
So,
That's a big
he had
mistake.
to go out of his way to collect more coins. After TikTok clock, Siglemic was 4 seconds behind the record. The 143 might still be possible, but from here to the end, Siglemic would need near perfection.
Good job, Siglemjuk.
All right, 143. That's it. I just got 143. That was sick.
Through the controller. And that was it. This was way before we continued without saved. We didn't even start doing continue without saving yet, which is like probably about 20 to 25 seconds throughout the run as well or something. So like, yeah, this was way before anything, before LBLJ, before Kenless setup, even before anything, dude. This is before everything.
Overwhelming relief.
No, we didn't do LBLJ either. We didn't do any of that shit. We didn't do anything. No framework, no carpetless, no nothing. No Suki cycle. Can you tell us anything about the race between Sig, Puncay, and D whatever in 2019 when Sig came out of retirement in Pace 2019? That was such an incredible moment. Yeah, so like when we finish the video, I guess I could talk about that. But long story short, Sig reached out to me when Pace 2019 was announced. No, that's a lie. I reached out to Sig asking him by a long shot if he would be interested in like commentating or like coming to Pace and like commentating the race and stuff. And then he replied saying, actually, I was wondering if I could like actually partake in the race. And I was like, I didn't expect, I was like, what? So I was like, sure, that'd be great. Yeah, and he just did. And he flew out and I met him in the airport. And we went to Pace 2019 and he raced. It was great.
After years of the 144.01 being on top, finally, the 143 was real. And despite Puncay making a push, Siglemic was the one to achieve it. While he did have
frame walk on a box controller.
The ending of this run was amazing. Close to perfect gameplay throughout Rainbow Ride and Bowser in the Sky. An extremely well-deserved record, and a massive milestone in the game's history. That being said, most thought this record wouldn't last long. It seemed inevitable that, any day now, Puncay was going to take over. His time was on a collision course with Siglemic, and sure enough, just a day later, Puncay got a 144.05. The runners were separated by just 12 seconds, but instead of defending his record, Siglemic switched categories. He'd already gotten what he wanted from 120 star, so he was content to sit aside and watch what Puncay could do. After a few weeks, Puncay's time still remained at 144.05, yet his abilities improved all the while. He was building up the skills he'd need once that world record chance presented itself, and on May 22nd, he got that chance. First off, Puncay still wasn't going for LBLJ. Why? Well, for one thing, there was a misconception of how much time it saved. We know today it saves about 10 seconds, but back then it was believed to be a much smaller time save.
Yeah, I remember like when we started doing LBLJ in 2015 again, the consensus was, oh, it saves only like 1 to 2 seconds. It's not worth it. And then after timing and stuff, we were like, oh my God, this shaves like 10 seconds. And we just kept it like hidden. We just didn't think about it. But yeah, when did I start watching? Mario was around this time, early 2014, when Puncay started like trying to get world record.
But skipping LBLJ was also reflective of Puncay's playstyle in general. He had the reputation of being a bit of a safe runner. He was capable of great movements.
Still is.
And had an extreme...
Still is considered. People still talk about how Puncay is always like, he's a consistent runner, yeah.
high skill level.
I remember Puncay used to get records like every week by like a second every time.
Compared to Siglemic,
he's just so consistent.
He lost a small amount of time from his gameplay, yet also made fewer mistakes. It meant he got more runs going, with more chances at the record. In this particular run, Puncay fell a bit behind early, but avoided a death that Siglemic took during Pillarless. So heading upstairs, he was 15 seconds ahead of the record. The name of the game upstairs is consistency. Since 120 star runs are so long, filled with non-stop tech and execution, small mistakes are inevitable through the run. The key is to avoid the big mistakes, especially upstairs, and that was Puncay's specialty. Even though his movement was a bit slower, he made up time by making fewer mistakes. This consistency gave him a lead over the record going into Bowser. But despite over an hour and a half of clean gameplay, he still had to land 3 Bowser throws, or it would all be for nothing.
22nd of May. Oh god, the capture.
did it. I did it. I did it.
The most prestigious record in all of speedrunning had just
Is this
changed
supposed to be this
hands.
laggy, or is this
This
me?
was the first time since Siglemic's August marathon.
I was there for that live. I was there for that. I already started speedrunning like a month before that, and I was there for that live. And I remember one of the first things I thought was, that's the first time I ever heard Puncay curse, ever. Like, Puncay was like, he reminded me of this like nice, like innocent child that would never curse. He never used to curse, ever. He was very like polite, very... And when he got that record, he was just like, I fucking did it. I fucking did. And he said it, they repeated it like 10 times. And I was like, oh my God. His true self came out there, finally. That's when he got unlocked, when he got that record.
Marathon that he didn't hold the world record. The community celebrated Puncay's achievement, stunned to see a new name at the top. And it was well deserved. Puncay had developed the best consistency that the game had ever seen. Throughout the summer of 2014, Siglemic and Puncay raced each other regularly. They formed a great rivalry since they were nearly equal in skill, even if their playstyles were a bit different. But although he enjoyed racing, Siglemic had no interest in going for the record anymore. After so many years of playing, he'd done what he wanted with 120 star, and his motivation to lower the record was gone. So now, that meant it was Puncay's game. Could he keep improving the record? The thing is, Puncay hadn't been at this as long as Siglemic. Month after month, his movement and consistency got a little bit better. So, Puncay believed that if he kept going, he could eventually make it to the next minute barrier. While the 143 was associated with Siglemic, maybe Puncay's time could be the 142. That July, he embarked on a journey to try and get it.
Puncayshun. I remember that era.
Nice dude, you did it. Nice dude, good gameplay. Alright, that's a new world record.
And he got so many too.
I'll take it. I still don't think this run is that good.
Armada. I did not know Armada was into speedrunning that early. Wow. I mean, I guess it makes sense. All melee players love speedrunning. Hi, Carls.
I'll take it. I still don't think this run is that good.
Oh, Puncayshun.
No! No, dude!
Shit.
Why?
Look how good the run.
Are you
Oh my
freaking
God.
kidding me?
That run was sick.
No! No, dude.
While the records kept coming, Puncay couldn't help but get frustrated.
Spike with the raid. Holy shit. Great timing. About to see the end of this video that everybody keeps telling me there's a good ending. I don't know what's going to happen. Spike, thanks for the raid, bud. I hope your stream was good. We just saw a video of you in it, Spike. Well, you popped up in the AGDQ 2013. That was some good nostalgia. That was amazing. Insane
He'd
ending.
come so close to the
Guys, you're hyping it up
142,
so much.
only to have
It better be a
slip
very good
away in
ending. The
final
way you guys are
seconds.
hyping this up, I'm
By late
scared.
July,
I don't know
he'd
what's
set
going to happen.
5 world records in a row. Pretty incredible
He is,
given how
Spike.
nobody
I
had been
agree.
able to dethrone Siglemic for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Puncay had taken over, he was pushing the game to new heights. But the 142 still eluded him. On July 28th,
Did anyone want to be my
142
girlfriend
still
after
eluded him.
142?
On July 28th, Puncay opened a 10-second lead early. He maintained that lead all the way through the basement, with his only mistakes being relatively minor. He then balanced a big time save in Fire Sea with a bad jet stream star in Dire Docks. So he made it upstairs with a 16-second lead, on pace for a 142.
So the first 105
He
up,
then
maybe?
played a classic Puncayshun upstairs, consistent and clean, without any huge time losses or time gains. Ahead by 19 seconds, Puncay entered Bowser in the Sky. He was far enough ahead that even with a mistake, he would still be able to get the 142. But the pressure was on. he still had to avoid dying or something else catastrophic. And we remember what happened last time.
Okay, nice. I think I'm safe from dying now.
Oh my god, is this the run where the... I think this is... I know what happens. Yeah. I can't watch this, dude.
Oh my gosh!
Dude.
I swear. I can't believe this.
Bro.
I cannot believe this right now. Are you freaking kidding me?
That's actually crazy.
I think that just ended it.
That is actually crazy, dude.
Okay, why did Puncay keep failing this jump? Well, this clip explains what's going on. While the axle appears to be rotating around its center, its hitbox actually rotates around one of its points. So if you're standing on the wrong platform...
I don't understand what that means. My brain can't process what he said.
It actually rotates around... Axle appears to be rotating around its center, its hitbox actually rotates around one of its points.
Oh, I see.
So if you're standing on the wrong platform and jump at the wrong time, you'll run into the hitbox.
That's crazy. Now I know. I didn't actually know why.
Puncay didn't...
But I did know ever since very early. I can't remember why. Somebody told me, I guess. If you wait too long here, that happens, yeah. And this happened to him 3 times in a row. So he long jumped late at the exact wrong time 3 times in a row, which is just crazy because it's such an insanely rare thing to happen. I haven't seen this happen to... I don't know if I've seen it happen to anyone since this. Maybe once or twice in the past 10 years, and it happened 3 times to him in that one run on the world record pace. But yeah, I guess a common understanding is on this long jump, you don't want to long jump too late. You can't. You have to make sure and do it when it more. I mean, more or less when the thing is in like the optimal height.
know this.
But you could see like he waited quite long. It was already going down for a long time.
And it cost him a ton of time. Still, maybe there was just enough room to eke out the 142.
Did he still get it?
That was it, man. That was 142. I just lost 142 because the invis wall just got me 3 times.
Holy shit, dude. That's crazy. And Puncay has always been very good at like just being able to take something very disappointing and just seemingly feel like, ah, fuck, you know? Bro, if that was me, especially back then, holy shit. My controller would have been in pieces. My table would have been destroyed. I would have been so... Like, I wouldn't forget about that forever. I would be so mad, dude. So mad. Especially when I started speedrunning, I was known for my rages. Like, I would get so mad for such stupid shit. I would have lost my mind.
Like, are you kidding?
It happens a lot for people who don't know that it's a late long jump. Probably. Yeah.
He missed it by just 2 seconds. Hitting the invisible wall twice would have been okay, but 3 times was too much.
Yeah, dude.
He couldn't have found a more disheartening way to lose it. This was the sort of thing that might have haunted Puncay for months. He could have been thinking about it every time he had a run go deep, and never quite been able to close it out. But Puncay was getting so many chances,
yes, honey,
and was improving so much, that he powered through the pain.
Yeah, he was just so
and
consistent.
Just a few days later, he came back and finished the job. $142.59. By the skin of his teeth, this was the run Puncay had been chasing after all summer. And yet, he barely seemed to care. Probably because he...
I guess I'm just a person with little emotion or something. I don't know. That sounds like Puncay. Oh, that's so funny. I think it's because it's like, you can only feel so happy by a 1 second PB, you know? Even if it's like a minute barrier, it's... When a run doesn't feel good to you, it's like, it's a weird thing.
He knew his work wasn't done yet. The run started with a slow Whomp's Fortress, and in Fire Sea he fell down to miss the cycle. Those alone were 30 seconds of possible time save, not to mention other small mistakes throughout the run. So, rather than being satisfied with the 142, Puncay just kept going. On August 16th, he got a run that capitalized on the Womp's Fortress and Fire Sea time save, but got hit by a shark in Dire Docks.
Bad, 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 bad. No.
Despite that, he kept the run very clean all through upstairs, and going into Rainbow Ride, he had a 13-second lead.
Nearly perfect Rainbow Ride so far. This is exactly what I need. I don't want to get like a tiny world record improvement, but I don't want to get an improvement by like 2 seconds or something. I just screwed it up.
Puncayshun.
Yeah,
And he still
dude.
got it.
Okay, so maybe not the record
And he still golded and still got it.
was looking for, but he wasn't done yet. About a month later, Puncay got another small improvement, 142.55. This time, he had slowdowns in Lethal Lava Land and the Vanish Capstar, but made up for it with a very clean upstairs. No death in Rainbow Ride. It all balanced out for another unsatisfying record. Finally, on September 24th, Puncay got the type of run he was looking for. Over the past few weeks, his movement had been getting better and better, and it all came together in this one run. He gained time through the lobby, through the basement, and made it upstairs nearly a half minute ahead of the record. This was the fastest pace anyone had ever been on, and his clean gameplay continued upstairs. Puncay gained time through the next 4 levels, and entering Tippy, he had a 40-second lead. In the last few levels, he finally faltered a bit. A coin fell off once again in TikTok clock, so he
The
had to
TGC
move back
100s,
up.
man. This
And
is
in
why
Rainbow
we
Ride,
do the safety red now, and it's just become norm because, like, it's too risky not getting the extra coin.
he made an all too familiar mistake.
No way, man. Not again.
Still, he managed to keep a good chunk.
I wonder why that happened, because that doesn't happen anymore. Like,
Rainbow Ride,
why did that
he
happen?
made an all too familiar mistake.
That's so
He
weird.
made an all too
I wish he had
familiar
input display.
mistake.
I think
Back up.
the
And in Rainbow
only
Ride, he made an all too familiar mistake.
only thing I could think of is that he went into Mario Cam too late. He probably had a what's the word, muscle memory, I guess, of going into Mario Cam too late. So Mario is starting to move already too quickly, so your camera doesn't move enough to get the right angle for the wall kick and the thing and the, you know what I'm saying, right?
Mistake.
Okay.
Still, he managed to keep a good chunk of his lead, and it culminated in a final time of 142.41, a sizable world record, close to what he was looking for. Had Tippy gone as smoothly as the rest of the run, this might have felt close to unbeatable. Puncay was now more than a full minute ahead of Siglemic's last record. This was a similar level of domination to what Siglemic had a couple years ago. Puncay had done it through a combination of consistency and gradual movement improvements. He saved fractions of a second here and there on stars. That adds up to a decent time save across all 120 stars. Puncay was the king. At least until October 2014, when perhaps the biggest discovery in 120-star history was made.
So it wasn't October. Very
Alright,
good.
you're familiar with Cannonless. This trick was the bane of 120-star runners'
Time for
existence.
soft boulder.
It was effectively random. Even if you performed it correctly, you just ran at the wall and hoped to collect the star. It worked around 20% of the time, and if you didn't get it within a couple tries, you were forced to reset the run. It was possible to get stuck in this loop for a long time, and top 120-star runners hated it. But in October 2014, it was
Those with the
Sockfolder to
prime
rescue.
and Dan with the
Sockfolder
prime
is a
sub as
legendary
well.
glitch who has found setups for
Thank you
tricks
so
in
much,
popular
babe.
speedruns like
Thanks for the
Ocarina of
double
Time
sub, I
and
appreciate
Super
it.
Mario Bros.
Everybody's telling me the end of this video is amazing, and I guess we'll see.
One day for tricks in the rescue. Sockfolder is a legendary glitch hunter who has found setups for tricks in popular speedruns like Ocarina of Time and Super Mario Bros. One day, he posted on Twitter, "For fun, I will make a 100% cannonless setup." And that's exactly what he did. After
Crazy.
a few tweaks to simplify things, Sockfolder had invented a setup to hit cannonless every single time. You grab the wall next to the plank and pull yourself up.
Sounds
Adjust the
deep.
camera, then backflip onto the plank, punch once, hold down to grab the edge of the plank, Then adjust the camera
Best
once
setup
more,
ever, dude.
pull yourself up, and hold down to run off the edge. If done correctly, you'll grab the star every time. There's several steps involved, but none of it's difficult, and it wastes only a few seconds compared to running at the wall. This was so huge for the speedrun. Runners no longer had to waste hours trying cannonless over and over. They could get run.
Portraying Puncay's elitist mindset ever since 2014. I already thought Mario 64 was the GOAT for speedrunning, but with the new cannonless setup, it's even better. Oh god. If he were to say this now, holy shit, the shitstorm he would get on Twitter from replies. Fuck you, elitist. Mario sucks.
Runners no longer had to waste hours trying cannonless over and over. They could get so many more runs
We all
going.
used to say that shit back then, though. Everybody was like, Mario 64 is obviously the best game. It's so good. So
Now,
much fun.
It was only a matter of time before Puncay would get another record improvement. He continued doing attempts in late 2014. Keep in mind, the record he was up against had a very fast start. It was only in Tippy that it began to bleed time. So on December 18th,
That's the case for, like, every
despite
record.
falling as far behind as 28 seconds,
Yeah.
he was able to bring it back. He had a very clean tick-tock clock to save 14 seconds, pushing him into the lead. And in the home stretch, Puncay preserved that lead. He landed all 3 Bowser throws and closed out the run as a 142-32. This was Puncay's 11th consecutive world record. Since taking
Very
over,
good, sorry.
he'd taken exactly 1 minute and 20 seconds off the 120 star record. The simple reason for this? Puncay had consistency that was
It is
unrivaled,
Zapdos, yeah.
even
I mean,
by
yeah.
Siglemic at his best. While these two were roughly equal in skill in mid-2014, as the year went on, Siglemic stopped playing and Puncay just pulled away.
Wow.
As of late 2014, that was the state of 120 star. Puncay was in full control of the leaderboard. The new cannonless setup had opened the door to new possibilities. While Puncay stopped, who were consistency of the 132.
Where were you,
This
Xenericus?
other throw-
I actually want to see that
for
again.
this?
Because we were looking... Where are you? Is this... Hold on, let me see if I can see you. Is that you here? Oh, is this you? Where are you? Oh, it's right here. This is you, isn't it? Xenericus? Is this you? Yeah, yes, this is you. Oh, very good. I didn't realize you were here. That's awesome. Because we were looking at this picture earlier and trying to guess who's who. And this is Carsey. I know that's Carsey. But anyway, let's continue.
While these two were roughly equal in skill in mid-2014, as the year went on, Siglemic stopped playing and Puncay just pulled away.
Yeah,
As
Kristen.
of late 2014, that was the state of 120 star. Puncay was in full control of the leaderboard. The new cannonless setup had opened the door to new possibilities. While Puncay had already taken the time to a mid-142, there was certainly room to keep dropping it with more attempts. The future was wide open. But to show you the next chapter in 120 Star's history, I actually want to go back a few months. Back to that period in mid-2014, when Puncay and Siglemic were both active, racing each other regularly and having a blast competing together. Now, we know that Siglemic's world records
I think I know where this is going.
lost to time. So frankly, the clip I'm about to show you from a random stream of his, it's incredible that it somehow survived.
I can't believe you put this in the video. No way. I know what this is, dude.
This was most likely from June 3rd, 2014, just a couple weeks after Puncay first took the record from Siglemic. Sig and Puncay were about to race each other, one-on-one in 70 star. The two best runners in the world going head-to-head, with thousands of people watching live. This was gonna be good. But then, right as they were about to start, a third player joined the race. This player was a promising runner, rising up the ranks, but really nothing special yet. He was in 29th place on the leaderboard. Nobody was paying attention to this guy. Why would he join a race against number 1 and number 2? But maybe he was confident for a reason. Although he got crushed by Siglemic and Puncay in this race, he wasn't discouraged. And over the next several years, this guy would go on to set more world records, and perhaps have the greatest legacy of anybody who has ever played Super Mario 64. And the very first time that people heard his name was this clip from Siglemic's stream.
It's true.
Dude, who's this random dude? Cheese 05, why did you join this race? This is the race between two titans, you'll get f***ed.
Holy shit.
Oh! Fucking legend.
Oh my god. Dude, I'm literally getting chills. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my god. I can't believe that's how it ended. There's no shot, dude. Holy shit. That was cinema, dude. It really is cinema. Ending it right there. I can't believe it. Who's this Cheese 05? I don't know. I guess we'll see, huh? Oh my god. I did not expect that. I didn't expect that. I see what you guys are saying. I really understand. My god. Thank you for the resub. Tree Fitty. Appreciate it, bub. Bro. I can't believe that. When he, dude, oh, that's so, man. I feel very touched when he said, like, potentially have the biggest legacy.
That people heard his name was this clip. Greatest legacy of anybody who has ever played Super Mario 64. And the very first time that people heard his name was this clip from Siglemic's stream.
Dude, who's this random dude? Cheese 05, why did you join this race? This is the race between two titans, you'll get f***ed.
I was on VC too, so it was like 55. Pretty sure I think that might have been a PB too. But that, yeah. Yeah, dude. 3rd of June, I was speedrunning for about